3, 2. You are now live on Facebook. All yours.
Oh, geez. We're live on Facebook. Keep laying this down,
sorry,
guys.
YouTube.
YouTube. All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming this morning. How many, have you guys done all the other trainings? Yeah. Okay. So Bernardo, you haven't?
I only missed Power Session 2 yesterday.
Okay, cool. Well, it's not easy to get to all of them, I realize. So they allocate 2 hours to this, but guys, I don't, I want to respect your time, and I think our goal should be to get through some of the basics of how to do a CMA. I'll kind of outline kind of my experience with what to do, some scripting that I would recommend, and then I think what would be good would be for you guys to practice on your own. My goal is to get through some of the theory and then just dive in and do some examples. So you guys have much experience using the MLS yet? I could get a yes or kind of. Bernardo saying a little bit. Okay. So that's one of the first things you guys need to start fiddling around with, is learning how to use the MLS, because that's where all these, all the comps and everything you're going to find are going to be. So let me share my screen here real quick. Okay. So here's kind of what we're, just kind of an outline. Number one on here, we're going to look at market fundamentals, discover the top pricing strategies for pricing any property. So generally speaking, the first thing you guys need to learn is where to go to get the general market stats. Now, just being around in the business, you guys are going to see, you're going to hear from other agents what's going on. So if somebody could answer this, what are you guys hearing about the market right now? From other agents, from media, what are you hearing about right now in terms of what the market's doing? I'm
hearing that it's a great time to sell and that there's not a lot of inventory, or maybe the other way around. No, you're totally right. So I've been in the business for a little over 10 years, and literally from the time I came into the market 10 years ago, San Diego real estate agents have basically always been complaining about low inventory, except now it's exceptionally bad. It's exceptionally good if you have a home to sell. It's exceptionally difficult if you're working with a buyer. So the first thing, so let's just cruise down here. So you need to have kind of a general understanding of what we're doing. Are you guys seeing this shot now? The fast stats, is that coming up? Yes. Okay, so the first place you want to go to kind of get a sense of what's going on in our market is SDAR fast stats. Literally, if you just Google SDAR fast stats, San Diego Association of Realtors, they keep track of all of our statistics for the county. They update this every month. And this is a good kind of overview of what's going on. Now, what you can do is you can see the overview of the whole county, but the market is a little bit like the weather, right? So I'll give you a good example. I mean, it could be raining down in PB, but it could be sunny in East County, right? So the same is true with the real estate market. Pretty much the entire county has incredibly low inventory, with the exception of one area. Does anybody want to hazard a guess? What, if you guys had to guess, any ideas? If you don't, that's fine. Okay. The one exception is downtown. Downtown has significantly more inventory, which is 92101, than any other zip code in the county. Everybody else is dealing with a seller's market. Downtown is effectively a buyer's market. So when you're working with a buyer downtown, you got a lot of choice. If you're working with a buyer in pretty much anywhere else in the county, you're going to be competing against multiple buyers. So let me just show you this real quick. So monthly indicators, housing supply, lender reports. So let's just go the view report. Okay. Let's look at this first. Can everybody see that? Yeah, okay. So monthly snapshot, so minus 18%. So the year change in closed sales for all properties is down 18%. The median sales price is up almost 15%. It means values are going up. This number here, 45, that's huge. That means the number of homes available for the buyer that you're working with to purchase from is down by almost half. So what happened was, once the shutdown happened in March and we went into the pandemic, a lot of people got really nervous about putting their home on market. They were like, I don't want random people coming through my home. So what they did was they pulled their home off the market, or they were planning on selling and they would have been on the market sometime last year, but they decided to hold off. So because of that, we're left with roughly half of the number of homes available for sale that we had in 2019. Now, 2019 was considered statistically a low inventory market. And we just cut that in half. So this is a good place to go to just get a sense of what's going on. These numbers have been roughly the same, I'd say, since March. It really started probably in April is when everything started showing up. But once you get a sense of what's going on, and these are good for just talking points. So when you're talking to potential leads, potential clients or current clients, just having some of these numbers available, just say, yeah, well, just keep in mind, you're going to be in a competitive offer situation because our inventory is down by half. And we have a lot of buyers looking at homes like this. So that's a good place to start is the general market stats. Now, if you want to go over here, what you can do is you can go to market area updates. So somebody give me a zip code. Anybody?
91911.
91911. What area is that?
That's South Chula Vista.
Here we go. Let's view that report. Okay. They break it down single family versus condo because they're slightly two different markets. If we were looking at downtown, almost all of the homes that you guys would see would be in the townhome condo market. You'd have almost no single family homes because there really aren't downtown. So what's happening? New listings is down compared. Now they compare it to December of last year. So compared to it's called year over year. The number it's down 32% new listings. So we just do not have a lot of inventory. Closed sales is down 50% because there's just not a lot available. But look at this. Median sales price is up 10%. Right? So these numbers are going to be slightly different. So the reason I'm getting at, the reason I'm covering this first, guys, is because when you're doing a CMA, if you're in an area that you don't know particularly well, which frankly, that's going to be almost everywhere, other than your immediate market where you live in, first thing you want to do is just pull this up and just say, okay, what's going on? I got a listing presentation down in South Chula Vista. What's going on there? Well, the values went up 10%. Inventory is down 32%. Days on market until sale. What's going on there? It's down 61%. Last year in 2019, it was 31 days. It took 31 days on average for a home to get under contract. December of this year, the following December, it took 12 days. So that's a huge change. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about in terms of downtown. These numbers are going to be a lot different. 92101 downtown. Take a look at this. By the way, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. All right. December of 2020, downtown, looking at condos, new listings is down 22%. Median sales price, check this out. It's down 4%. Their values actually fell. Now, their time on market is still high. You guys remember that we saw that the time on market down in Chula Vista was like 2 weeks? Their time on market is 31 days. The reason this is important is because when you're talking to a seller and you're in their house and they say, well, I hear everything's a seller's market and everything's selling quickly. You say, you're right. But we're in a bit of a different market here downtown. I had a closing downtown. I sold a listing down there second quarter last year. And I had to kind of set expectations with my client and just say, you know, I know you've been hearing that this is a crazy seller's market, and it is. But here are the stats for downtown. It's a little bit different. And so it's all about setting expectations. Now, I would preface a lot of this, guys, with you don't want to lean too much into the stats unless there's a case you're trying to make. Meaning, I wanted to let my seller know that the downtown market was different than other areas. But if I'm talking to a seller that's maybe getting a little too big for his britches, so to speak, and they're like, well, we want to way overprice the heck out of our home, you don't want to give them these stats as much because you don't want to give them ammunition. But what you do want to do is you can say, hey, look, here's our market time. If we're not under contract in 31 days and the market's telling us, what is the market telling us? Ask them, say, what is that? What do you think it's telling us if we're not under contract by a month? And they may or may tell you or they may not, but basically what that means is that you're overpriced. So I'm going to cruise through this a little bit. Again, my goal here, guys, is not to take the 2 hours just to take the 2 hours. My job is to get through the material you want to get through. And then I want to kind of have a conversation a little bit more. So we're going to talk about pricing presentation scripts and strategies. Discover standards and techniques to deliver a great CMA at your price recommendation. In terms of scripting, we're going to do a little bit of that here, but I would also recommend asking other instructors that you guys have other classes with. So we're going to cruise past this. Has anybody been doing this here? The 10 contacts added, 10 connections, 10 personal notes. Has anybody been doing that by chance? No? Okay. We can cruise past that.
Media mostly.
I'm sorry, Aaron?
I was doing that mostly on social media.
Oh, how'd that work?
I mean, I suck on the cold calling and stuff, so I just try to see how is the social media gonna answer me since, you know, I'm a new agent, started just a few months ago.
Okay, well, it's good to just start getting the word out there, especially the people that you know, it's going to take some time, but getting the word out that you're actually in the business. Are you guys all going to be full-time, or are you guys part-time, or where are you in that side of things?
I'm trying to be full-time.
Okay. All right, let's just cruise here. How markets work. Okay, so real quick, how market dynamics. Markets operate in the law of supply and demand. When supply is high and demand is down, prices fall. When supply is low and demand is up, prices increase. We refer to that as a buyer's market or a seller's market. Who has the advantage in a negotiation? So in our current market, like I mentioned, outside of downtown, we have low inventory and we have high buyer demand relative to the number of homes available. Does anyone know why we have high buyer demand? Any takers? No? The reason is interest rates are low. Interest rates are below 3%. I had a past client from last year. She and her husband bought a place in North Park. They just refinanced. They were at a 3.9 as their interest rate, and now they're at a 2.9. So that's $300 a month different. So basically, buyers are flooding into the market. They're staying in because they want to take advantage of these rates. At the same time, because of COVID, you have a lot of sellers sitting on the sidelines saying, we're not going to do anything. So again, we have low supply and high demand. From a basic standpoint, theoretical standpoint, determination of value. Value is established based on an agreement between a willing seller and a willing buyer. The tug of war is always between what the seller wants and what the buyer is willing to pay. So the dirty little secret is buyers actually are very good judges of value. If you're looking in, just picking it, South Chula Vista, let's just take that as an example. If you're looking there every day on Zillow and Redfin, you start to get a sense of what your dollar buys you. You get a sense of, can somebody give me a sense of what, how much would a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house cost in that part of Chula Vista? Bernardo, can you give me, do you have any idea?
I don't know. I just saw it. The median sales price was like 550.
Okay, yeah.
The one I am is about 650.
Okay. So let's call it 550, 650, something like that. I think the stat said it was 550. So people are cruising around, they're looking at homes, they're looking online. Oftentimes people have been looking for 6 months to a year before they start actually getting in a car and actually seeing properties. So when the time comes, they have a real good sense. So if your median there is 550 and you got a property coming out that's listed at 650, there's got to be something going on there. It's got to be either bigger than the median home, meaning if the median home is like 1,300 square feet, maybe this house that we're talking about is actually closer to 2,000 square feet. Maybe it's been remodeled recently. Maybe it's a flip. Or maybe it's not a flip, but it's just been remodeled. So they're going to get a sense real quick. Buyers, no. They can tell immediately. You can't hide from buyers. They understand what their dollar buys them because they've been looking. Okay. So as we spoke about a few minutes ago, these are the things you want to look at. What is the inventory? Days on market until sale. How long is it taking homes to sell? If the days on market until sale in a specific zip code is 7 days, and you got a home that's on the market for 30 days, what does that mean to your buyer? They're thinking to themselves, do I want to be the sucker that overpays for this? It's been on the market for a month. And clearly it's not worth what they're asking, because if it had been worth that, it would have sold. So, and these stats are all easy to find online. You can find it, I mean, we have access to it in the MLS, but you can also find it on Zillow and Redfin and all the other websites. Price per square foot. Guys, this one is really difficult. And let me explain real quick why. Price per square foot decreases as the size of the home increases. Meaning your price per square foot on a studio is going to be much higher statistically than it's going to be on a 2,500 square foot home. That's just how the math works out. So if you take price per square foot of a studio, wherever you guys happen to live, and you take that and you multiply it by a single family home, 10 blocks away, and one is 600 square feet and one is 2,000 square feet, you're going to come up with a value that's really off. So just be careful with price per square foot. Sometimes people think they're cute by saying, well, what's the price per square foot? And you're like, well, it really only matters if you're plus or minus within a certain range, usually about 20% of the size. So a 2,000 square foot house, you're going to be looking at homes that are between 1,800 and 2,200 square feet, right? Plus or minus, 10 to 20%. Changes in local landscape. Monitor changes in major employers, shopping, schools, and other services in the community. And changes in local laws that impact housing. Can anybody think of a local law that perhaps the city of San Diego has been talking about for a long time? I'll give you a hint. It involves rentals. Okay, we're talking about
cap on them.
I'm sorry?
Putting the cap on not increasing the rent or rent.
Well, that's one. We don't have rent control, but one thing that we've been talking about is Airbnb, right? There's a lot of pushback, especially in the coastal areas, against Airbnb. I live in Point Loma, and there's a lot of people there that really do not like Airbnb. So one of the areas in San Diego, in the city of San Diego, that is, really heavy on Airbnb is Mission Beach. So if they put a cap, which is what they're talking about, on the number of homes that could go Airbnb, once that law goes in, if any of you guys know somebody who has property in Mission Beach, you should be calling them. And you should say, first you can offer to help and see if there's a way you can get their property grandfathered in so that they can keep doing Airbnb. And if not, what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to sell.
Sell it. They can't afford to pay the mortgage.
Right, because let's take an example. Let's say it's on Mission Beach, they could rent it for $3,000 a month, but they're doing these short-term rentals and they're actually cash flowing like $4,500 a month, right? And if they just bought it based on that income of Airbnb, suddenly they're in a position where they have to sell. So just keep an eye out for things. You don't have to get too much in the weeds, but just keep in mind that these laws, when you have changes, they affect people's ability to buy and sell real estate. So if that goes in, all these agents that have people down in Mission that they know, they should be calling. Okay, let's cruise down here. All right, pricing criteria. The following factors come into play when looking for comparable properties: location, size, amenities, condition. All of these are important. Now, one of the issues you guys are going to run into is oftentimes you're going to be talking to somebody and you've never seen the house. And so I'm going to give you guys some scripting on what to ask to get a sense of how this property compares to other homes in the area. Location, is it in the same neighborhood? If at all possible, you should get one that's right in their same little subdivision. Size, again, you don't want to be comparing a small single family home to a rather larger single family home because their price per square foot is just different. Amenities, you could see this in especially in downtown. Maybe you have a building where they have 2 pools and 2 gyms and this and that, and then you have a building that doesn't have any of that. The upside in a situation like that is if they have less amenities, what else is also lower? Or HOA, which is great. Okay, so we kind of talked about this. Days on market. Let me just cruise back here real quick. Let's look at this. So this is where you guys need to go to take a look at what's going on in terms of our market. So you should have a good sense of the overall days on market for San Diego. And you guys are the more you're around the office, guys, the more this is gonna just you're gonna just learn this through osmosis. Go to the market stats session that Ashley does every month. And that's actually really, really helpful. What I usually do is I do a write-up, just kind of bullet points with maybe a couple several paragraphs on different thoughts on what's going on in the market, and I send it to my database. Average price per square foot. Again, we spoke about that, guys. Don't get too hung up on this because it swings a lot. How many homes are on the market? This is going to be really key. Get a sense of, if you're looking to sell a property in a building and you're literally the only listing that's going to be active, that's a good thing to know. What are your sources for local market stats? We already spoke about that. So any ahas from this real quick, guys? Anybody have anything you'd like to chime in about? Okay, tough crowd. All right, knows what sells. Basically, what you were talking about is price and condition. Now, given where we are in the market, you're going to be able to get away with a lot that you wouldn't be able to get away with if you were trying to price a home 2 years ago. But everything that we're in right now is temporary. I give it no longer than another year that we're in this market. At some point, especially when the vaccine gets rolled out and most people are comfortable selling, they're going to sell. Market's going to come back in terms of the number of homes available, which is going to put pressure on prices now. Okay, so this little chart. All right. So this is where you're in the market. This is where your home is priced correctly. And the further up you go in price, you need to either have better condition relative to your guys, or your comparable properties, or you're going to just be out of market. Buyers are going to look at what you're offering, they're going to look at the price that you're asking, and they're going to balk at that, and they're going to say, all right, we're not even going to look. Okay, so you guys are going to be able to tell a lot by the number of showings. So if you're having a lot of showings the first couple weeks, now new homes are always somebody at Madison, I like your cat. You're going to get a good sense of how your home is being received by the market in terms of showings. But that first week, everybody's going to want to come and see it. And then it's a matter of how many offers you're getting. And if you're not getting offers, then it's a matter of having a conversation. Good question. Feel free to just do a show of hands. Who is planning on joining the coaching program here in the office? Okay.
I'm already in it.
Okay. So Melissa, you're in it?
Yeah, with Carl.
Madison? Awesome. Perfect. Madison, you're going to be in it? Or you are in it?
I'm in coaching with Alicia.
Perfect. How Aaron and Bernardo, how about you guys?
I'm with
coaching-
Clarissa.
I'm coaching with Carl, but I'm not in business.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I'm with Carl, but I'm not in business.
But you're not in business. Okay, that's right, because you don't have your license just yet.
I do.
But you do.
Yeah.
So what do you mean you're not in business?
I'm a referral status right now, and I'm occupied with another profession, and I'm just.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I didn't understand. Okay. So here's some initial scripts, and this is why I mentioned the coaching. Your coaches are going to be, that's really the way that you guys are going to be able to get a quick start in this. And don't let things like the fees that they're charging and stuff like that really hang you up. Because what they're going to do is they're going to help give you guys all this scripting. And they're going to help you guys really hit the ground running. I wish I had done coaching when I first went in the business. It probably would have helped things quite a bit. Let's take a look at this. Understand the window of opportunity. The best chance to sell a home is when it first comes to market. Why is that? Any ideas?
Well, it's fresh, so most people, they're looking for what is new in the market. When you're searching, you see like last 7 days in the market, what is new.
Absolutely.
As long as it's staying, that means being overpriced, and that's just got stuck there.
Absolutely. Here's a dirty little secret, guys. Nobody knows what nobody really knows what a home is worth until it goes on market. Even the appraisers don't know. And by that, I mean, I've seen appraisals done where they just arbitrarily decide to make an adjustment in the appraisal of $25,000 based on condition. Well, why was it not $25,050? Why wasn't it $26,000? The answer is they take a look at what you have it under contract for. They ask you how many offers you got, and they basically just work backwards and justify the number that you have. I'm the first to admit I've priced properties that I thought were over market, investment properties that I had gone to investors and said, you know, this development site, what do you think the value is? And they said, oh, it's worth this. And this guy said it's worth that. We go to market $100,000 over, especially this last year. And we got it. We got that price and we got 30,000 more. So the goal here is to get a sense of generally where the home is in terms of pricing. And just realize that you're not going to have all the answers. Once the home is on the market is going to tell you, and by the market, I mean buyers, actual buyers that have real money. They're going to tell you if they think it's a good value proposition or not. They're going to tell you if based on the photos they're seeing of the condition of the property and the price that you're asking, they're going to tell you immediately. So the good news is that you guys don't have to be spot on. You have to be within a range that doesn't turn people off. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The reason the first couple of weeks are super important is because nobody knows what the home is worth yet. And the longer, here's the weeks down here, the more weeks it remains on market, the more likely it is that the number that you have is not going to be reached. And one of the things to keep in mind is if your time on market in your zip code where this property is located is 14 days, and you've been on the market for 4 weeks, you know, basically you need to tell your seller, hey, look, the average home in our market here is selling in 14 days. So I'm going to keep you up to date on what's going on in the market, how many showings we have, and how many offers we have. You're going to know every day
maybe a couple times a week in terms of updates of what's going on. But, at the end of 2 weeks, we'll have a conversation and we'll see how things work out then. I wouldn't push pricing too much initially. You can, but you can also push people away if you're too strong. It really depends on the relationship you have with this person. Do they know you well? Do they trust you? So that's okay. So here's another thing to keep in mind. Price to reflect market movement. Prices are going up. You have some leeway. You can price high and the market will meet you there. But as prices fall, if prices are going down, if you're overpriced, even when you start trying to drop the price, you're still not at market value because now you're playing catch up. So as it is right now, you guys have leeway on the pricing. So if you can get a listing, as long as you're not listing a $500,000 house that is basically in average condition, listing it at $700,000. If that's the tack that your seller wants to go, then that's not going to work. But if they say, hey, you know what? I know you think the value is 500, but what about 550? You say, great, sign the contract. Let's get this done. The market's going to tell you what's going on. And frankly, in this market, a $500,000 house at 550 is probably still going to get offers. That's the beauty of this. So for those of you that continue on in your real estate career, when this market changes, you're going to know. And you're not. But the market we have now is the market we have now. So this is just a little chart, time on market, right? So any questions about some of these concepts so far? Okay.
I have many. I won't pretend like it's all sinking in, but but it's going well.
Okay. Well,
one thing that I just want to tell you, like south of the Chula Vista, like almost like closer to border of Otay Mesa, that went up and like they found many buyers because after pandemic, many realized that living there, coming here was very hard for them, and maybe they get just stuck and they can't even come back. So they start buying the properties and renting permanently, and price went up.
Yeah, it's you're talking about people that are going back and forth over the border.
Almost 50,000.
And so you're saying that they bought up here because they just couldn't get back and forth.
I talked with the two of the real estate, said people just decide just buy here and stay here, then put the money together and just stay here. So prices went up. Some of the properties over there didn't worth anything even.
Aaron, do you have a network of people down in Mexico that you know?
I know people, yes.
Okay, well
with the business owners, yeah.
Yeah, look into that. Everybody has a niche. Find your niche. And Aaron, maybe that's your niche. Maybe people that are out of market that are looking at buying here in San Diego. Maybe people that are down in Mexico that are making the commute back and forth.
Yeah. Chula Vista area, especially Otay Mesa, Chula Vista, and this East Lake. That area is booming.
It is booming. It's also one of the only places in the county where you can actually build new housing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 6, don't be afraid to be professionally honest. Kind of have to couch things a little bit. We want to be honest, but we don't want to be too overbearing. You want to just kind of leave it with a caveat and just say, well, let's try it at your price. Let's get this done and let's see how it goes. You'll feel it out with the individual, what you can say and what you cannot say. If they know you pretty well, maybe that's one type of conversation you can have as opposed to somebody you really don't know very well at all. So we're not going to go into too much scripting on this. Do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear? I wouldn't say that. I know this is, I get that, that's one way to go. That seems a bit borderline disrespectful to somebody. So I personally wouldn't say that. Here's what I would say. Aaron, before I come out there, I had a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say somebody said that they were going to write you a check for $1 million if you could accurately tell me what the value of your home is. Now, not the value you want it to be, but what do you think the true value of your home is? Someone were to write you a check for $1 million. If you guessed what the value of your home is, what would that be? What would that number be?
When I'm looking at the market value, I think it's going to be 110, 150, what I'm looking for. But, with the market right now, and then, that there's a lots of buyers and there's lots of inventory in this area, I think I can take that 1 million.
Okay, so you think, so based on, if I were to write you a check for $1 million, you think the value of your house that you're looking to sell is $1 million?
It's around 1,000,010, but I think if I get that 1 million, I guess in 2 months I can make more than that.
Okay, gotcha. That's something that I kind of say, and like, well, you tell me, you're the professional. I mean, what do you think my home is worth? Great. I'm going to run the comparables for it, and we're going to have that conversation. But you live there in the neighborhood, and I'm sure you're keeping an eye on sales in the area. We all keep track of these things. So based on, and ask the question again, based on, your people are always looking at what's selling in their neighborhood. Always. People are obsessed with it. That's why these command emails that go out that send the recent sales for everybody's neighborhood, that's why everybody loves it. They eat it up. Just ask it again. Okay, great. Well, and I'm not asking what what you would like it to be, but based on the values that you've seen and the homes that you've seen for sale in your neighborhood, what do you realistically think the value of your home is? And just, you got to get that number. You got to know what you're walking into. So we spoke about this. The first few weeks of your home on market is critical. The factors that drive price and condition. What are you asking for, and what are the upgrades in the property? That's another thing. You guys oftentimes are going to be talking to somebody, and they're going to say, "Well, I want you to come over and let's talk about getting my home on the market." Gotcha. Well, if you wouldn't mind, Aaron, I have a few questions for you. So, when was the last time you remodeled the property? Is it largely original from when you bought it, or have you made a lot of upgrades? And go room by room.
We did some upgrade because last year was raining so bad like this year, and then the rain came through the chimney, so we just decided to do some upgrade on the roof and other stuff. So it cost us a little bit, plus insurance didn't accept it, so we did a major changing on that area.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, you guys made some repairs, right? So you had a roof leak and you made some repairs.
And then we did some remodeling in that area of the the fire pit.
Okay, gotcha. What upgrade have you remodeled the kitchen recently?
We had no choice. We did it because they say that the way that the rain actually came through the pipes and top. The dock for the air condition area, the rain. So we just completely changed that area as well. Yes.
Okay. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, guys, but you just keep asking. Great. So can you tell me what you did in the kitchen? Did you do new appliances? Did you do new flooring? Did you install new cabinets? How about the bathrooms? When's the last time you remodeled the bathrooms? You need to get as accurate a picture as you can of this property. If the home was built in the 50s and you're talking to an older person and they said they bought it new in 1955, and they basically have told you that they really haven't done anything, which is probably more than likely, that's a different type of property that you're looking at than if you're talking to someone who says, yeah, we bought our home 5 years ago and it had been remodeled, i.e. it's probably a flip. So the issue is a lot of times you're not going to have interior photos of these properties unless it's like an expired listing where you can look up photos and that helps. But it's important to just keep asking, keep drilling down. How about the flooring? Have you redone the roof? Blah, 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 blah. You need to paint a picture in your mind in terms of what the home is like before you get there. Because then they're going to say, great.
What do you recommend as a price? And you need to have a range of comparables that reflects the vision that you have in your mind. Okay, pricing about market movement. Don't chase the market. Any quick questions from anyone? Okay. All right, guys, here's what I want to do. We've been on the call for 45 minutes. What I want to do is I want to cruise through the MLS and run you guys through how to do a couple CMAs. Does that work for everyone?
That sounds great.
Okay. All right. So I have some addresses. I'm going to type them in. If anybody wants to do it yourself, feel free, or you can just watch and I'll drive. Okay. I ran this. I put this one together. Carmel Country Road. It's up in Carmel Valley. So first thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to look up fast stats. What's happening in Carmel Valley? I literally just did this the other day because I have two potential listings coming up there. People that I'm talking to. 92130 Carmel Valley. What do they got going on there? So it's a condo. So their time on market is 16 days. Their time on market has actually gone up slightly. Kind of weird, huh? Pending sales is up by a lot, 120%. Their median sales price is up 5%. Now, countywide, it's up close to 10, so they're lagging that a little bit. Month supply of inventory, guys, this is huge. I forgot to mention this. This is a big stat you got to keep in mind. Basically, month supply is if you didn't list a single new home here on out, at the rate homes are selling, how long would it take for everything that's currently on the market to sell? So I'll repeat that. So if you stop taking new homes on market, if everybody just stopped listing completely, at the rate that homes are selling for, how long would it take everything that's currently listed on the market to sell? 1.1 months means it would take you just over a month to sell everything you have. That's a quick market. But look what happened in December of 2020. It went down to almost half a month's supply. Their inventory went down by 36%.
Question.
Right? Yeah.
Are you saying that happened in the month of December, or it happened throughout the year and that was reported in December?
It's looking at, since real estate is seasonal, meaning more people sell during the spring and the summer than they sell during the winter, around Christmas time. You want to look at month over month. So you're comparing December of 2020 to December of 2019. Next month, you'd be looking at January of 2021 compared to January of 2020. You're not going to compare December of 2020 to June of 2019 because they're different times of year. We have a higher rate of sales during the spring and summer. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, so that's why you always go year over year. You look at the same time in the previous year compared to what's happening now. So they have a pretty good market. I actually looked at this the other day and their numbers weren't as strong. So that's interesting. I'm going to take a look at this for you guys. Kind of fun. I think I had it here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just run you guys through how to price a house. So pull up residential. You're going to want to map it. So what that means is you're going to want to take the address of where you're looking and you are going to want to find it on the map. Okay, so we're going to, this is weird, what's going on here? Okay, there we go. All right, hit find. All right, so here it is in Carmel Valley, guys. Okay, now here's a little trick. Who knows where are the best comps found for a given house?
Nearby that house?
Right. Ideally in the same neighborhood, like the exact neighborhood, not, because look, here's the subject. These homes across the street, they may be similar, but they're not identical. Same with this subdivision up here. And you can kind of see this. You can, if you pull up satellite on here, you can just look and you can see exactly where the lines are just by looking at, okay, great. So they have gray roofs. They kind of have this, you see it here. Great. So this tells me that these are the homes here that I want to be looking at. So look, if there's not a lot available, then I may need to go outside of here. But my first step is to take a look at literally what has sold in that neighborhood. It looks like there's a couple hundred homes here, maybe 100. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to draw a little polygon shape here. And criteria. All right, so here's what we do, guys. Let me look this up. Cromwell Country Road, unit 49. You know, hey, Joe, we want to sell our house. Can you help me find it? Can you help me get a sense of what the value is? Great, I'll be over there at 3 and you're signing at full commission. It's going to be wonderful. All right, 49. So we want to know what's going on here. We want to know how big it is, how many beds there are. So look, I looked it up in the tax record here. It's just over 1,000 square feet, 1,088 square feet. Okay, cruise down here, you're going to see more information on it. Characteristics. Bedrooms, 2. Bath, 2 full, 1 half bath. Total square feet, 1,088. Built in 91. Okay, so that's what we're working with. So ideally, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, let's just pull up all the comps in the neighborhood. Let's just see what's going on. So you go in here. Got to click on all these statuses, right? Active, contingent, coming soon, which is a new status that we just implemented last year. Pending, what's in escrow? Sold. You know, we don't care about rentals. Expired, off market. Why would you be checking expired and off markets, guys? Any idea?
We can go back and call them. Maybe they change their mind, so we can put them in the market.
Well, there's that, but you got a live lead on the phone here, and they're telling you that they want to sell. You know, your buddy just calls you up. He's like, I got this place up in Carmel Valley, and we want to sell it. Say, great. Would it be useful to know if there was a property that came on market and didn't sell? Would that be useful? It would, right? Because if they ask for 650, if your potential client says, hey, I want to sell you go through it and he's he digs his heels in, he says, well, we want to sell it for 650. We know it's worth that. And if you run through the comps when you see them and you say, hey, we actually have a property here. It was listed at 650 and it was on the market for 90 days and it didn't sell. So I know you mentioned 650, but here's a perfect example of somebody who did exactly that and they didn't sell.
I have a question.
Right. Go for it.
We've been discussing this in scripts. It was a main topic today in the morning. And instinctually, my response is, what is it that would make a buyer think it's worth that much? Like, is it just perusing Zillow and Redfin and seeing properties they think their property is like, you know, and how appropriate is it to ask that question? What's making you think it's that value?
Are you talking about a seller or a buyer? I guess it's a seller. So you're asking why would a seller think it's worth 650?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. It's an excellent question. It's one that realtors have been pining over for centuries. Who knows why sellers think that their home is worth what it's worth? They look on Zillow, they look on Redfin. A lot of times there's other underlying factors in there that refinance their house twice. Buyers and sellers come into the real estate market with a lot of preconceived notions as to what things are and how things work. So that's part of the pre-qual process is you can say, well, I want X amount. Great. But what do you realistically think the value is? If I was going to write you a check, like no joke, if I was going to give you a check for $1 million, if you guess the correct value, what would it be? Is it 650? Well, I don't know, maybe 550. But we're thinking of maybe just trying it high and see how it goes. Okay, so that's usually what it is. Let me take a look here.
I see. So there doesn't seem to be a concrete or common reason other than by sellers being inclined to want more for what they're selling and attaching more value to it because they have a personal relationship with the property.
You're spot on. That's exactly what it is. It's the my house is better syndrome.
That's what I wanted.
That's exactly what it is. You're totally spot on. Okay, so if anybody needs help with this, this is where you, when you guys are comping a property out, especially for your first listings, when you're going out there, keep in mind, you guys should also be doing this if you're repping buyers as well, because you got to get a sense of, is this property going to appraise? What's the value of it if you write an offer? And oftentimes you're going to have to present this CMA to your client that's trying to write an offer on it as well. So this is not just for sales, for listings rather. Okay, close of escrow date. I'm going to go the last 12 months. Now appraisers only go back 6 months, but as agents, we want to know what's been going on in that community, right? Off market date. Let's go 12 months back as well. Okay, so here up here, 24 results. So let's take a look. And it is loading. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. Okay, so it's going to go through everything down here. Okay, so this property, number 49, 12-614-49. Now, I actually cheated on this one earlier. It's actually an escrow. So we have sold, pending, expireds, canceled. We have nothing active. But let's filter by square footage. Anybody remember what the square footage was on this one? It was just over 1,000 square feet, right? 1,088. So let's do this. Let's just look at the unit matches. $1,191, 1,088. So we got a whole bunch of them. See? So doing condos is actually pretty easy because you literally can just pull up unit matches and that gives you a good place to start. So let's pull up all of these. See, we got a lot of data on this one, which is nice. It's really rough when you try to pull something up and there's been like nothing sold in the neighborhood. That's where it gets tough. All right, checked. Looking up here at the stats, see, for just the properties that we checked, we got 8 of them. Got a low of 539, high of 570, and the average of 559. So basically, we got a low of 539 to 570. So we have a $30,000 difference, right? So if I had somebody that had a property in this neighborhood that was a floor plan, I would bring them this information. I would say, look, we have 2 pendings. We got a whole bunch of expireds, and realistically, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a range of 539 to 570. What would I want to do at that point? If I was talking to an owner that had a unit match to one of those, 2-bedroom, 1,088 square feet, what information would I need from them? Upgrades, condition, right? Yeah, hi, Aaron. I appreciate you meeting up with me on Friday. I had some questions for you. Have you done any work on the property? I know it's built back in the 90s. Is it original condition generally, or did you remodel the kitchen? Did you remodel the bathrooms? How about flooring? Have you installed new lighting? When's the last time you repainted it? Is it original or is it highly upgraded? And go line by line. Just mentally walk through the house with them and say, what are all the things that you've done? And by the end of that, you should have a good sense of what that value is, what the upgrades are, what the condition is. Okay.
People, they loved it to talk about their homes.
Yeah. Now, if you want to be bold, you say, great. So what are the things that you think would make your house, really unique? Got it. Well, what would you say is perhaps a downside? Oh, good question. We actually, one of the issues is, some of the other homes that sold, I know that they actually face the park and we don't. We actually face the alley. So we don't really have a view. Oh, that's good to know. All right. So you got this, guys. Pull up here. Special, go to CMA. CMA summary. Now you pull this out. Whoops. Pull this out. Print out 2 copies. One for you to look at, one for them to look at. And then what you should probably do is have this, and then also print out a couple copies of the properties that are most like theirs. So ideally, you're going to want, 2 or 3 actives, 2 or 3 that are in escrow, 2 or 3 that are sold. Okay. Question for all you guys. Do any of you guys have iPads or something like that that has internet connection that you can use, that you can bring with you on an appointment? Yeah? Okay. If you can, set it up so that you can do that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save this search. I'm going to save this as blah, 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 Aaron's condo in Carmel Valley. And I'm going to hit save. And then when you get there, you can pull up this search on your computer and you can walk through it. Okay, so that's just a general sense of how you would do a CMA. It's easier when you're looking at condos because they're all built at the same time. You're now just looking at condition. There's usually a lot more matches that you can look at. Questions, comments, complaints, otherwise?
What's the style AT&T?
Style right here,
Mm-hmm.
attached. So that's another thing. Good on you. The different styles, different housing types, attached, detached. So detached would be like a single family home. A lot of agents, they list their properties under, so if you're looking at condos, you would hit attached, row home, townhome, twin home. So if you're selling a condo, are you guys going to want to look at single family homes as well? No, right? Because they're 2 different animals. Single family homes sell for more. Even if they're the exact same square footage, a single family home will sell for more. Because it's detached. People like the privacy. So you want to compare apples to apples. So if you're looking at North Park and you want to create a search there, you can see some of these old homes built in like the 20s where they have the same square footage sometimes as a condo, but you're not going to, if you're comping out a small house in North Park, you're not going to run condos along with that. So what do we think? What did I miss? What am I missing here? What do you guys need? What am I leaving out?
What do you think, Melissa?
Oops, sorry, am I still muted?
No, you're not.
What are
Is
you
it-
missing out on the CMA?
No, I'm just curious if you had if anything jumped out, there was maybe something that didn't make a lot of sense.
No, I mean, I've done CMAs, and my previous broker that I worked with actually created the Flash CMA program for the MLS. So I have taken a lot of stuff on it, so I kind of know how to use it, but it's been a while. I have just jumping back into real estate after a few years. So it's more seeing the upgrades and things on the MLS and going through things. That's what I'm kind of on the class, and the scripting, because I really need help with that. So, but the presentation of, the Flash CMA to people right now.
Okay. Yeah. So you have some experience running CMAs then?
A little bit, yeah. I'm rusty. It's been a while. I mean, I've only had one sell, and then, honestly, I didn't hear from my broker for 2 years. So that's when I got back in the business. That's why I joined with the Metro office, because they're amazing. But
you didn't hear from her for 2 years?
No. So
oh, man.
Yeah, that's bad. So, which doesn't make one very motivated. So I, even though I have had a sell and I've gone through all this process and education, it's been a few years and I feel like a newbie. So there's a lot I'm learning right now. But the CMA actually I'm kind of familiar with a little bit. But this is a good brush up. And there's a couple things that you've gone over that I hadn't seen before. So that's what the good stuff is on this.
Okay. Well, hopefully this is somewhat of a help.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
Guys, running CMAs, on one hand, it's difficult, and on the other hand, it's not. So you can definitely overthink this stuff in a big way and drive yourself nuts. But there's certain things to keep in mind. You want to look at properties that are similar in the area. And it's great to look at sales, but given our fast moving market, you actually may need to look at active listings. Meaning properties remodeled, are there any properties in the area? That's another way you can look at it. You can print out a list of actives. If there's nothing that's sold, you can bring this all to your client and say, look, all right, so we're sitting in your house right now. You haven't remodeled it since 1991 when the home was built. Here's comp A, sold for this, totally remodeled. Would you say this is better, in better condition than yours, or worse condition? It's better, it's remodeled, great. How about this one, blah, 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 blah. You just walk them through. You're gonna wanna have as close as you can as possible. But here's the thing, guys, lean on agents here in the office. Okay, that's why coaching is so good, because it's really necessary initially starting out. Because if you're going to go on a listing presentation and you need help comping out a property, you want to go to them and just say, hey, what do I need to do? This is the address. These are the comps. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm thinking the value is about 600. What do you think? And they'll walk you through it. Guys, I sometimes run CMAs and I'm just sitting there scratching my head saying, this does not make any sense. I've listed properties in the last year where I said, no way are we going to get this number. Then we get more than that. So this isn't a science, it's more of an art.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if you run a CMA in the house, or you're going to come and present it to the seller, and you get in there and you do kind of a walkthrough, and there's a lot of things that haven't really been done on the property, and the seller doesn't care, basically says, I'm going to sell it as is. I don't really care what it looks like. I don't care if there's any upgrades. I don't care if there's illegal electrical or an illegal deck or illegal, hot tub, whatever on the property. Sure. They don't care. So my question, because I actually have had a conversation with someone that said this to me. probably going to be a future client of mine. I just want to come back and be able to answer the questions so they don't care and they're not expecting to get a super high price. And we're talking, you know, Bankers Hill area, super high price for their single family home.
I mean,
And
would you say it needs a ton of work?
yes, but they don't care because everything in this whole 92103 area sells like disgustingly high priced and overpriced. They don't care. They don't want to do the upgrades. They think that because it's such an old house that was built in probably mid to late 20s, that it's just going to get torn down, and a developer's, I don't think it can be more than 2 units though. So their question, or I want to be able to come to them and say, okay, well, I don't, you know, unless you do these upgrades, we're not going to get like a family wanting to buy it and move in here. How about, do I say, should we talk to a flipper, a developer? Like, where do I go with that? That's kind of my question.
Couple things. Why don't we, I actually like properties like this. I have a ton of buyers that would be interested in that. So maybe we can talk offline about this. When are they looking at a sale?
Later this year, possibly.
Okay. Well, as long as they know, I mean, are they wanting a number that you think is over market?
No, actually, they're kind of reasonable. But I mean,
they sound like a dream client then.
Yeah, I ran a CMA on their property with 0 upgrades, and it's still priced at, you know, almost 900,000. So, but they have, you know, things that I know aren't to code, so I didn't know, and they don't care because they're convinced that the property is going to be torn down, and that, you know, someone's going to build a beautiful new home or a duplex unit because this neighborhood sells like crazy. So that's
well, they sound like a great client. They don't sound like somebody that you're going to have to fight with, where they say, "Hey, the remodeled house or the new home next door, we want the same amount that sold for."
Mm-hmm.
If you're not fighting with them on this, then this is a great situation.
Is any client a dream client, though?
Yes, some clients are. Some clients are. There's always headaches in these transactions, guys. I mean, it's a lot of drama. I mean, statistically, you know, they rank, my understanding is they rank in terms of life events, the sale of your house that you live in is considered like top 10 most stressful events that somebody has. Like, no joke, like home sellers that are selling their home that they've lived in for years, it's incredibly stressful for them. So there's a certain amount of drama that's going to happen in any of these transactions. But if you don't have to fight them on pricing, which it sounds like they're pretty realistic, then go crush it, go sell it. I mean, that's a great property. You know, I could probably get you like 3 or 4 offers in a day on that.
Perfect, great.
So, yeah.
They also have an emotional attachment to the place. So I'm not sure how quickly it's going to sell, or for how quickly they want to list it, just because it's like their family home. They're the second owner, and yeah, so the house, like I said, was built in the 20s. Second owner, I think their grandparents got the house in the 50s. So it's got a lot of 50 remodel to it. I actually haven't done a full walkthrough on the property yet. It's not huge, but yeah, so I just don't know, should I say, hey, well, let's get you a developer, but so it's more the conversation or script, not a script, because I'm not cold calling them or anything, but the conversation to have with someone that reassures them, because I think isn't that our job as a real estate agent, is to give our clients all the information and reassurance and assistance that we possibly can, and kind of come from that angle.
Yeah, you just let them know. You just say, look, you know what? There's people that want to buy a house that's move-in ready. There are some people that want to buy a house that is new construction. There's other people, there's other buyers
that want to buy a house and they want to remodel it all to their liking. In fact, that's for my next house, that's what I want to do. I mean, I want to buy a house that needs a ton of work. I want to take it to the studs, add a second story if it needs it, et cetera, et cetera. So you got those people that they do have the means. If it's in Mission Hills, right? Yeah. So that's
Mission
a
Hills,
high-end,
Banker Hill kind of area.
yeah, that's a high-end area. You can find buyers of means that have the ability to buy it and then get financing for a construction loan and do all the work themselves. You also have flippers and you have developers. So there's a market for every kind of house. And actually, my favorite homes to sell are fixers. I love them. Absolutely love them. So anyway, guys, I just went through one example. We could just kind of keep going and going and going. The biggest thing is get familiar with how to cruise around on the MLS. You're going to want to map it out. And that's where coaching is really important because the coaches are going to be able to help you with this. Without somebody that's really dedicated to working with you, it's, I mean, like, for example, if any of you guys called me and said, hey, I need to comp out this property, I would definitely help. For sure. The problem becomes when you call agents in our office and need it like 4 times a week. That's where the issue becomes. And give yourselves like several months of doing this. Seriously, just start pulling up properties and say, you know, give yourself 10 of them and say, what do you think the values of this would be? And come up with a number, right? Just you got to just practice it. So that being said, what else do we have, guys? I think we're just about an hour, a little over an hour.
Really quick with the CMA, do you think we should give them as many as 10 comps or less? Is 10 too many? I mean, I've heard, you know, both. I've heard both from some of the CMA work that I've done that some people like only give them 5. But I don't know, can we even get 10 in this market, or you just give them what you have?
Well, when it comes to you and your research, get all you can. And then if you have, then take the best ones, but bring all of it with you. And say, hey, you sent the value of 600. Well, here, this one's remodeled at 650. Is it better or worse? Got it. Keep going until they don't need any more information. Say, okay, so this one sold at 650. This one's active. You know, is this one better or superior or worse than yours? It's worse than mine. Okay, got it. This one. How about this one? You just keep going down the list. You don't want to overwhelm them, but you might as well have the ammunition with you if you need it.
Okay.
But I would go with a short list of the ones you think that are most applicable. Like in that example I gave you guys, we didn't have a lot of actives that were that floor plan. So maybe I need to expand it out and just say, here's what the actives are going for, right? So yeah. What do you think, Aaron? I hear you. I like your background, by the way.
I'm sorry, it was breaking up.
I said I like your background.
Oh, the logo?
Yeah. Is that your new is that your logo for your real estate business?
Yeah, I made it myself. Yeah, just the AV.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool.
Thanks.
Let's see. Let me trying to look for where the chat is on here because I want to give you guys my phone number.
I'll send a request on the Facebook and LinkedIn for you.
Oh, you've been busy. So you've been paying immaculate attention. You've been cruising online looking at stuff. I see it. All right. Yeah.
Earlier you said that, who did you say was your favorite type of seller to work with?
Fixers.
Fixer?
Properties that need a ton of work.
Oh, like fixer uppers?
Yep.
Gotcha. So what do you mean by that? Like you like working with people who are selling a property they know is a fixer upper?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Because I have a big pool of investor buyers that I work with. And I mean, they'll buy all they can. So I basically have a big database of those investors, and I just send it out and put it online, and those properties sell in a couple days. I can get 20 offers and negotiate it up, but I know who all the good buyers are and who all the people are to. Speaking of which, guys, if you guys have anything like that and you guys come across these investors, shoot me a call, shoot me a note on Facebook and say, hey, we got an offer from such and such developer or flipper or whatever. What do you think? And I'll give you my 2 cents. Some of them are great to work with, some of them are not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing something really large here. And maybe it's just because I'm still quite new.
Yeah.
In my mind, there wouldn't be so much of a need to do a CMA as an event, and like I could just a property appraised, and then unless the buyer has a specific price that they want for the property, just say this is what your property is worth. Let's list it for this price. But it's
are you talking about hiring an appraiser to do an appraisal of the property to determine the list price?
Yeah.
I mean, you can. The issue is an appraisal is going to cost several $100s.
Gotcha.
So they kind of view that as part of our job, that we should give a sense of what the home should be listed for. So if you say, well, hey, I'd love to meet with you, but you should hire an appraiser first. And they're going to say, well, great. Well, I'm meeting with 2 other agents and they're giving me their price opinion. So you can't come up with it on your own. That's probably what they would say.
I see. So being able to provide a CMA gives you a competitive edge as an agent.
It's just an expected skill that they want us to have. They want us to give a sense of what the value is.
I see. Like, but when it comes down to a specific price, a difference of even $25,000 is major, and
Sure.
an appraisal would be able to calculate that.
I actually about a year ago I had a woman, and she actually took my advice and did have it appraised, and the appraisal came back good, and we listed it at that, and it did sell immediately. And that's because the appraiser was actually based on real numbers. It wasn't just, well, this is what I would like and hope to get. It was based on real data. So you just have to make sure that if they're basing it off an appraisal, that it was relatively recent. If they did an appraisal a year ago, their value has gone up. So just let them know that. So yeah, so guys, just practice this stuff a lot. If you guys need help, you can give me a call. I put my phone number on there. Anybody have any appointments coming up with sellers? Anything like that you guys are working on? Okay, well, give it time. You guys will get it. So I'm going to sign off at this point. You guys, anything else you want to cover?
I did leave a question in the chat a while ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the chat actually.
Yeah.
So what's up?
I'm wondering how you perform CMA, or how that process is adapted for neighborhoods where every house is different from one another, like Presidio or Bonita.
It just becomes more difficult. Do you have an address?
The area where I live right now, and then 1902, houses on these streets are all very different.
The biggest thing is you got to be. If you have an address, we can do a quick example.
Let's do 4281 Calling
Okay.
Road.
And how do you spell that?
EOLLIN Road West.
Sorry, it cut out there. 4281. What is the road called?
That's COLLING.
Okay. Let's do that real quick. Okay, you guys looking at my screen?
Yes.
4281 Falling Road.
There's an abominable sound in the background. I don't know what that is.
Okay. So it's lot size is 5,700 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 5 bath, 1 half bath. Oh, the total square footage of the house is 5,700 square feet. Hey, that's no joke. Is this your house?
No.
You're like, I wish this was my house. It's a lot of house to keep up, guys. 5,700 square feet. You have to get a second mortgage just to keep it clean. Okay. So that's the first thing you do, pull it up on the map. So this is where having a good sense of the neighborhood is good. Do you know this area well?
I've driven by a lot because I have a relative who lives here. And so I know that all the properties, they're very fancy. They have like really large backyards or sides. I don't know what you'd call that, like side gardens.
That's nice. This is real nice. Trying to get a okay. Here's something to keep in mind, guys. It's always good when you're doing this to know the area, because you want to get a sense of where the boundary lines are. Like where should I be ending my search in terms of in terms of the boundaries? So a little difficult. So I'm gonna just do a radius. Let's see what comes up there. Okay, so it's 5,700 square feet, 12 months back, active back on market, pending sold. Let's just see what comes up here first. You always start big, so I didn't do any criteria, I just did the map. And these are all smaller. Let's see, so it's 5,700 square feet. That's a big place. Let's change this up a little bit. And there we go. Do you have any photos online? That would help.
No, I don't have any. I know that it's like a Spanish villa kind of look, but nearby there are houses that look like they're Victorian, or like they're Dutch colonial, or just very radically different.
Zillow has it at 1.7, but Zillow can't take into account condition. So what's the square footage? It was 5,700, did we say? Yeah, 5,700. So look at these. That expired 5,700. It was built in 88. 2,400, 2,800.
There's no actives. That's an abnormally large house for the area. 3,000, 2,400. See, they're all in the 2,000 range. We've got one at 3,000. Estimated square feet. Let's do that. Let's search by square. Let's see what the square footage is. Or 281. So the first thing I'm trying to do is finding homes that are similar in size.
That were recently sold or just in general?
Both. All the recent sales, the homes are significantly smaller. To 700 square feet. It was listed in January of 2020 up here. It was on the market for 187 days. These are nice. So here's the thing, guys. This can take a while. Like it's, especially if you don't know the area, that's where it can be tough. I'm going all the way out here.
I imagine that might be because you see all those kind of canyon areas that might be also properties to some of the houses on the edges.
Okay. See, so this one's 3,500 square feet. That's significantly smaller. 3,500, 3,500.
How come you're not looking at the expireds? Just because they're expired, or, I mean, the whole point is to get a comp to show your client with a house that size. Can we use expireds, or you just don't get the information on them?
Well, expireds kind of give you a sense of, expireds give you a sense of what the home would have sold for, like basically what didn't work.
Overpriced, basically.
Exactly. So here's the issue. It would take more work on this. The issue we're running into is this is a significantly larger home, 5,700 square feet. That's a big place. And nothing has sold or is on escrow or anything. Most of these homes are in the, I mean, we don't have anything that size. And the only one that is even similar, we have 43325. Where's the address?
4281. Okay, so here's a property right down the street. Is that the one we just looked at? Yeah. So they listed at 1.9. 1.8, 1.9, those both expired. In terms of sold, 3,500, 3,500. So let's see. Give me a second here. Let's see what the 314 times just 300. So if you go the sale price per square foot, 314, and you multiply it by the square footage of the house here, which is 5,700, you get the sales price of 1.8. But again, that's significantly smaller. So look, not to dodge this one, but the reality is that you'd have to do a lot more work on a property where you're the biggest house in the neighborhood. If we had a home that was somewhere in the 3 range, we would have a much easier time determining what the value is. But when you're looking at an outlier, it gets difficult. What was that, Bernardo?
Because there are easily identifiable.
Yeah, exactly. It's always hardest. I mean, literally, I would probably have to put a lot of time into this and really think about it and run some calculations, and it would take a while. This wouldn't just be sitting down and just being like, boom, 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 here you go, here's the number. Like I'd have to run some numbers on it. If you look at, so the number I had here was just 1.789 is if you just do a price per square foot. Zillow has it at 1, see look. That's all they did. It's just price per square foot based on smaller homes. So that's how Zillow got their number. So that'd probably be that could be potentially a place to start. But yeah, I mean, you basically handed me a hard one. Whenever you're the smallest house or the biggest house or the best house or the worst house in the neighborhood, it's easier to do the average. It just is. When you're at either end of the spectrum, it gets difficult. You just have to put more time in it. And that's when I would take a look at this and I would scope it out. I'd probably drive the neighborhood too, because I would need to get a sense of what where the borders are for the neighborhood. So if I have a lead for a property that's almost going to sell for $2 million, I'm going to put in quite a bit of effort on it to get a sense of value. But just based on that, in terms of the, this one sold 3,500 square feet. It sold for whatever that square footage was. It showed that the value, just multiplying that, is basically the Zillow estimate. Mine says 1,789. They said 1,783. So that's basically what they did. They took the largest sold comparable, and they just multiplied it by the square footage. So that could probably be a place to start.
Thank you.
And then I would probably just be like, okay, how can I need to justify this. And this would just be a tough one to comp out, frankly.
Could you use those expireds that didn't sell as a top end pricing? Say we should find somewhere between this price, estimating out just the price for square foot for the last one sold, like the one that was in the 3,500, whatever, using that and then going to like these comps that are in the similar, say, well, that they expired, so it didn't sell. Now, do you want to sell your home? Maybe we should price it just under here, or I mean, it's hard because then you don't necessarily have comps to know what's in that home or.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right, actually. So if we look at these expireds at the top here, they're both on Coling Road, so they're just down. They're like several homes down. So our number is 4281. This is 4325. So it's the next block over. They're at the 3200 block, and our subject is the 2800. So it's the next block down. So they're going to say, well, we want to list it for 1.9. We're listed for 2 million. Say, great. Well, we don't have a lot of comps in the area, but here's one thing I can see. They had a unit, very similar size home to yours, and they listed it at just under 1.9, and it didn't sell. Also, we have a second one, same situation. They listed it at just under 2 million, and it didn't sell. So we don't have a lot of great information, but based on this, it's also just that's just also a tough price point down there. I mean, once you get into that 2 million range, it gets harder to sell homes.
And I'm I'm remembering what you said earlier about a property actually being worth what people will end up paying for it, not necessarily what it's appraised for or comparable to.
Yeah, exactly. It's just tough, and that's the issue where you run into, guys, is you're like, well, what is my home is worth? Well, I literally just got here 10 minutes ago. I'm touring your house, and I have no comps to back up anything. The only thing I have is I have 2 homes that were similar to yours that didn't sell. So I would definitely bring these with me. I would say, look, you have one of the nicest homes in the neighborhood, and usually everybody says their home is the nicest home in the neighborhood, but in this case, you're spot on. Your home is one of the best in the neighborhood. The problem is that all the homes that have sold are like 30% smaller, and they have like multiple less bedrooms and bathrooms. So you're not comparable to most of these. So, Mr. Seller, here's what we do know. We had a price. We had 2 homes down the street from you. They tried to sell at just under 2 million, and it didn't work out for them. So I think initially we should, maybe start at like 1.7, and let's see what the market reaction is on that. But we just don't have a lot of great data to pull from. Mr. Seller, maybe this would be an opportunity for you to actually have an appraisal done. Maybe that's something to consider. So, sorry I couldn't be more help on that one, Bernardo. You showed me, you gave me a great one, but that just shows that this can be difficult. We just don't have a lot of data to go by.
That's very helpful. It's validating and clarifying.
Yeah, Bernardo gets an F in the class. Gave me the one property I couldn't comp. I tease.
That's why I asked. I know there's
you pass. This is a pass-fail. All you have to do is show up and you get a pass. So anyway, guys, I put my number on the chat. Reach out, give me a call. Love to get to know you guys a little better. We don't want it to be like Melissa's last brokerage, where she didn't hear from a broker and other agents in her office for 2 years. We do want to get to know you guys. We do want to help you succeed. So let us know what you need. Reach out to us. My office is on the first floor in the corner. Feel free to stop by and say hello.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe.
All right. Melissa, I'll give you a call about that. I'll give you a call about that fixer. I'm very interested.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks,
right,
everyone.
See you
later.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Bye-bye.